Hey, I'm Ari from Tech Buyers Guru. I'm here with Tony O from SilverStone. He's going to tell us all about the brand new cases here on display at CES 2020. So the first here, this is really exciting. People may think this is your new Fortress case, but it doesn't say Fortress. It says Alta F1 right there. Tell us about the decision to move Fortress to a new series, and what's new about this next-gen Fortress.
Okay, so back Computex last year, we did announce that we were going to shrink our lineup of tower cases from 6 different series. It was really getting a little bit confusing for a lot of people because we have cases based on different characteristics or maybe even styling language. But yeah, it just got too much.
Sure.
We're up to
you aren't the only ones that have that problem.
So we decided to really rethink the whole lineup and just shrink it down back to 3 based on their price or class level. So we would have Alta as being the top of the line.
Highest.
Yeah. Setup being a middle high end and Farah being an entry level.
Sure.
So
this is Alta. That means this is a new high end, top end case for you.
It's a 100, 30 or 50 plus case will be all in the Alta series.
Got it. And this Alta F1. Is this a prototype right now?
Yes.
But will it come to market? You're still determined?
Yeah. We want to bring this to market. Hopefully, like we always say, hopefully by the next trade show we will have a production ready.
So Computex?
Computex. That's
so
our
June.
goal.
Okay.
So this one is going to be what we try to do with the Alta F1 is to take some of the best part about the Fortress that we had before, and make improvements on, and also make them affordable.
Yeah. So you're both perhaps improving the performance and decreasing the price?
Yeah, that's the idea. Yeah.
So you can see this is the kind of vertical air flow.
Rotated 90 degree.
Right. And when did you first do that? Was that
back in 2008 with the first Raven RV01 chassis?
So that's kind of something you innovated 12 years ago. You're sticking to it because what advantage does that bring to the consumer?
Well, it gives you the ability for you to have very clean aesthetic on the front panel. It's very important.
We'll turn that around here so you can see. This is solid front panel. Now, in a lot of cases, what that does is cut off airflow. You trade the aesthetics for the airflow.
Yes.
But here you're allowed to keep your aesthetics and still get the airflow through the bottom.
You get class-leading cooling performance out of this type of layout, without looking like a full, I don't know what you call it,
gaming case, right?
So that's the idea.
And the last Fortress case you had was the FT05. That was about 5 or 6 years ago. The market has changed a lot. Liquid cooling is a big issue. Video cards have changed in size, slots, fan sizes have changed. You also have RGB, so I'm going to have to ask about RGB. None of that existed 5 years ago. So which of those elements have you integrated into this new concept?
I think all of them that you mentioned is integrated into this design. Yeah.
Now, I don't see any. I'll start with the easiest. RGB, I don't see it in front.
So for those of you who remember the FT05, it actually had a logo here that lights up in blue LED. So this one here has actually a light strip as well. So
you have RGB elements behind this that shine through, and there are addressable RGB, so you kind of get a rainbow effect.
Yes.
Well, that'd be cool. So it's subtle. It's subtle, but in keeping with this professional aesthetic.
And on this prototype, if you look closely on the bottom, we're also planning, actually on the other side. We're also thinking of adding light strip.
So will it be along kind of these rails here?
Yeah. So you have lighting effect also on this on the floor.
Oh, that'd be cool. Shining up. The only concern about that is I don't want to see discrete RGB elements in my eyes. You'll have to somehow. Are you going to include it?
We'll see.
LSO4
is a little bit expensive, so I'm not sure.
I just tested the LSO4 on the channel. I didn't talk about the price, but what is the LSO4? That's their new light strip, which I call a light pipe, very advanced. What's the retail price of the LSO4?
It's $50, $60.
$50 or $60.
Yeah,
so that's
2 strips.
Expensive to include in a case that you're targeting about 150 plus or minus, depending on the fans.
Yes.
So you're still working on the fans, but obviously you're going to get fans intaking through the bottom. And what size fans can you fit down there?
You can fit anything from 120 up to 200 millimeters, and anything between 140, 180, 200.
And you're thinking about?
And there's also a new size fan that we're also looking at, maybe a 160 even.
Does anyone else use 160?
Maybe on some of the
Like, is that a
rare
standard
cases,
in the PC industry?
Not really
it's not really a
but
standard.
it's more built like for like maybe specialized cases. Yeah.
So that's an option, but people can use all the other standards that are out there.
Correct. So we're still testing, and hopefully we want to, make sure that when these go out of the factory, they have the as good as they can be in terms of performance.
Now, the other things I mentioned, wide video cards, triple slot, and I talked about liquid cooling. You never fit a liquid cooler in a Fortress case previously, is that?
You could, but you have to sacrifice maybe some of the room that we have for the 180 millimeter fans.
So you could mount it on the bottom instead of.
There were also, I guess, they're harder to find 180 millimeter radiators, but fitting them inside a case can sometimes rob you of space for the graphics cards.
Yeah. So what have you done here? Where does it go?
Well, again, let me remove this top cover. By the way, this is now.
That's not
metal,
plastic.
Aluminum.
Aluminum. So you never did. It was always plastic before, even in the Fortress series.
The Fortress 2, it was there was still, I think the most expensive Fortress 2 that was plastic structure with aluminum like shell over it.
Oh, okay. But this is solid aluminum.
This one's
I can feel it.
really
So we just took that off, and I'm going to put it aside so you can show people what's on the top there. All right.
So actually, right away, without taking off the side, you can see on the top, there's already
I'm going to tip that down so people can
mounting holes.
have a look. Radiator. Obviously, that looks like a radiator mount to me.
Yeah, or
fan
extra
mount.
fans, yeah. So
you didn't have that before because this
No.
was just kind of.
originally, all of the Raven and Fortress case, when they had this, was just to cover out the cables for looks.
Just aesthetics, but now this is a functional top panel.
So to take off the side, there's a button on the back of the case.
Okay,
press
just
that,
a single button.
and
And
now
then
release the side panel.
very slick. Nice.
Just pull and remove that.
So no thumb screws, no screws in the back, no rails to worry about. You just pop it off. Okay.
Okay, so on the bottom you can see this is where you can put the fans on the bottom. So that's likely where we're going to include the fans from the factory.
Maybe one up here
Also,
in the standard exhaust
So
area.
before with 10 years ago when we had this layout, most of the graphics card was still working off reference blower design.
Right.
So with the intake only configuration, you can get really good performance out of it.
I have a blower because it was blowing up.
Because it was the cars are exhausting the air by themselves.
Well, so if that's what you designed this rotated motherboard for, why are you still doing it with the graphics card? Even NVIDIA has abandoned that design entirely. Why does it still work to go 90 degrees when your video cards are no
there are
longer?
other benefits besides cooling. When you have a vertical layout like this, number one, the graphics are heavier than ever.
Oh, so you don't have that sag
So
problem.
you don't have a sag problem. That's number one. So I think that alone, just looks way better than having a sagging graphics card. So the cooling, what we did to improve cooling for modern graphics card is the one I showed you here, where you could have another row of fans being installed above the graphics card, so you can have a push and pull action here.
So it'll actually pull it out even of those exhaust. The video cards still have the mesh exhaust, even though there's no air necessarily blowing. But now you're pulling, you're actively pulling the air out of the video card. I see. Now I do see that you have this vertical. It's kind of
full look.
It's kind of a
It's there. It's there if you want it.
Everybody wants these, but nobody uses them. The vertical mount for your so you could place it right up against the glass and kill your video card. But in terms of those triple slot video cards,
no problem.
No problem because those are designed to blow air in all directions. But
so you can see we have lots of vent opening here.
Yeah.
But this is still a prototype, so we're still playing around the final design. Yeah.
Sure.
For now.
And then, okay, now, so for people not familiar with the Fortress and Raven design, this looks like maybe a power supply cutout, but this is actually where all your cables will come up because you now have all your input-output up here. So they do flow down. Have you thought about any cable management? Because in the back here, you do have all those cables that are exterior to the case still.
We've discussed about this before with having another
another extended panel.
I mean, we did have a case called a Mammoth MM01 that had a complete back cover, but that just
It's
adds
like one more
a lot of
cover.
bulk.
You're adding covers on all directions, and so
we want to
people
keep this
just
reasonable.
don't put the back of the computer facing anybody, and it looks fine.
Yeah.
This is your power supply
Intake?
and it exhausts out the top and then
yeah.
out your cable area. Okay, and let's see. It's also Beam Fortress. Fortress, one of the, it's even on the back. This is aluminum on the back.
Aluminum.
Wow,
Front and back.
and this
on the
panel-
bottom too. This is steel panel, but this is something that maybe you guys watching this can give you feedback.
Yeah.
So because these are
Shouldn't this be matching?
matching acrylic, I mean not acrylic, tempered
No
glass on the
acrylic.
other side, but you don't want to see your cables, so maybe the tempered glass is fully blacked out.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. Because you don't have to worry about airflow to the back of the case.
No,
I
no.
think something slick like that glass
Or
panel on the-
symmetry,
Yeah.
yeah. But then personally, I would like to see this being maybe a silver.
That's another option. So maybe
So
you
it
can
match
vote. When you
better?
see this
Yeah.
video, would you rather see it be glass like the other side panel, or do you want it to match the aluminum of all the other panels? I mean, this is really slick. The wraparound aluminum on all these three sides, that looks really, really cool. But then you get the symmetry of the glass on. I think both are good. So we'll see what people have to say. And I'm a little bit surprised that you're targeting only $150. Previous Fortress cases were more expensive. And if we just factor in inflation of 5 years, I would have said this is a $200 case. What's changed? Why are you able to produce this at
Okay, so
$150?
before all of the Raven and Fortress case, there were complete revamp of the current case design. So everything had to be
Custom.
made custom.
Yeah.
So with this one, we share some of the standard ATX tower internals.
Okay.
That's how we were able to drive the cost down,
Got
despite
it.
being still a premium case.
So
on
just
the outside.
sharing parts within
Yep.
your product stack
Yeah.
allows you to, and it makes a lot of sense,
Yeah, yeah.
and there's no
So
drawback
that's why
to us.
you have the PSU shroud that you see in
Right.
a lot of
Right.
enthusiast ATX
Yeah.
cases.
Yeah. Well, this is very exciting. You're targeting, you say a launch date or the next showing of this in June?
Yeah.
What do you think? What's it going to be in June? Next prototype or retail availability?
Let's say retail.
All right, retail, say around 150 depending on the fans. I want to hear your comments about this case. I'm very excited. I'm actually surprised. I did not expect this to be here. This is really cool. A lot of people back at CES last year, and then Computex as well, were thinking, where's Fortress? And, and you had the RVO6 prototype. People were, honestly, most of the people who commented on my video a year ago said, I want a Fortress.
Okay.
I want the Fortress. I don't want the Raven. And this is, here, you're delivering.
Here it is, yeah.
So I want to hear your comments, guys. Thanks, and thanks so much, Tony.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.